Hey, everybody, welcome to Woo² with me and my executive producer, Connie Diletti, where we just talk about anything we feel like to do with the Wooniverse at the corner of Fringe and Maine. What's our topic today, Connie?
Today, we're going to talk about one topic I love to hear you talk about, which is synchronicity.
Love it.
Okay, is it possible to start off with a little bit of a description or a
Sure.
definition of
Yeah.
synchronicity so we're all starting on the same page?
Sure. Do you have
Okay.
one handy or do you want me to
I
do it?
do.
Yeah,
In
okay, you
fact,
do it
I
then. I
do.
thought you might have one being
Right
the
up my
Woo!
sleeve.
Okay.
So this is a definition of synchronicity from Carl Jung, the Swiss psychologist, who says that synchronicity is a term used to describe circumstances that appear meaningfully related yet lack a causal connection.
Right. So meaningful coincidences. And I think that when
Mhm.
people say, "Oh, that's just a coincidence," I laugh. I go, "There's no such thing as coincidence." You know,
Yeah.
synchronicity, you can see why I'm so fascinated with the topic because it is actually the mechanism of how oracle cards work, how tarot cards work, how any
Mhm.
divination system works,
Right.
and has for, since the beginning of when they first arrived on the planet thousands of years ago, right? And
Yes.
and this concept of synchronicity where you're asking a question. So how would these cards know anything? Like, why would
Mhm.
they come up exactly the way you would need it? They tell you the exact thing that you need to
Mhm.
hear. They tell you the exact next step to take. They reflect you in a way that is so deeply personal that it's shocking.
Mhm.
And so I was always fascinated with how that worked, especially when I studied first the I Ching, because the I Ching is very much even how
Yes.
they built it and they
Mhm.
talk about it being synchronistic.
Mhm.
Even though Carl Jung coined the term synchronicity, it's the
Mhm.
meaningful coincidence was part of the 64 hexagrams, and everything moves and everything flows and everything evolves, and yet, like your action here, let's say you're going from A to B, but D is what comes up
Mhm.
next, or
Right.
F,
Mhm.
right? Because
Mhm. Mhm.
F is the important piece that you think needs to be
Mm.
C, but F
Mhm.
is it. And
Yeah.
you've forgotten it because C wasn't right. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, okay, I have to
Yep.
surrender this. It's when you put a wish out into the universe or an intention or set a goal, and then you take a few steps and then you just forget about it and off you go. And then boom, completely without any causal
Mhm.
relationship. Like, how did
Right.
I meet this person at this right time? Like meeting my husband was complete act of synchronicity. He had posted on the internet. This is like when we had like dial up, right?
Mhm.
I was like in the first,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Right. And there I was in this big box, and
Mhm.
and it was lava life. And he had posted, he was staying in Toronto, he was going back to LA,
Mm.
and I didn't even like what he said. It was just that I was struck by his face. And I wasn't even there for me. I was looking for my friend who
Right.
was
Okay.
actually
Mhm.
checking to see if her husband was on there because he was
Oh,
cheating on
wow.
her.
Oh
So we
my
were
goodness.
looking through all these
Talk
profiles,
about you
right?
were like, what, yeah. Why were you
My
even there?
intention was
But
not to go look for my husband
right. Mhm.
there. It would not that afternoon, it was specifically to look with my friend, and I'm like,
Right.
"Ooh,
Wow.
wow, this guy's not even my type. He's stunning and
Mhm.
gorgeous, and
Mhm.
I don't even like anything he says, but I am struck." I am like, it's the weirdest thing,
I
and I'm
don't
like,
even
"I'm
like what
gonna."
he says.
I didn't. It wasn't anything.
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay, whatever." And then I'm like, and he's way too pretty for me. He was a model. I was like, "Okay,
Mm.
I'm gonna send him a
Mhm.
note anyway." And I did.
Yeah.
And, like,
Yeah.
literally, the rest is history. Why
Yes.
was I supposed to be there? Why was my friend worried
Mm.
that day coming to my house? Like, let's look and see and sneak and see if he's in there. And there is this other person that becomes my husband. It was
Right.
complete coincidence.
Like,
Meanwhile,
yes.
I
Mhm.
had asked,
Mm.
I was single and I
Mhm.
had a series of, unhealthy relationships that reflected the unhealthy parts of me because I take full responsibility for my choices of all the
Mhm.
frogs I kissed, I was
Mhm.
like, I was
Mhm.
into kissing frogs. But when I decided I wanted a different type of relationship, I had
Mhm.
no idea how to choose that person because none of my choices worked out. And I had just surrendered
Right.
it. It's just like, oh, whatever, God, my picker is broken. You pick for me. And there was this person that in a million years I would never have seen. But then meanwhile, check this out. More
Mhm.
coincidences, more synchronicities. He had the same. His music lawyer was one of my best friends, right? And like we knew
Wow.
all the same people in the music business. He was also in the music business. We had so many things in common that were so outrageously, how is it possible?
You could have had these a million other ways to cross your paths,
But
basically.
we would never have because he wasn't even living in Toronto. He was living in LA. But there
Wow.
was no way our paths would have crossed.
Mhm.
Yeah. And yet we had all these synchronistic things in
Mhm.
common. You know, I'll never forget Anna, for example, who runs Oracle School. She's the
Mm,
head mistress. She
mhm.
had offered me a ride home. Wasn't looking for a job. She was offered me
Yeah.
a ride home from an event that I had done at Kripalu. And I just sat in the car listening to her tell stories. She was so entertaining. I had the best time. And I
Mhm.
left the car and I had this flash of this person is going to work with me someday. And then I called Jill, the person who was working with me at the time, and I said,
Mhm.
and she still does, uh, I think I'm going to hire this. She goes, to do what? I said, I really don't know. I
It's
hadn't
like,
come up with
"Okay."
Oracle School. None of those things
Mhm.
had happened yet. They weren't
Mhm.
in my
This
sphere
is
of
A, B,
availability.
D, E, F,
You're
G,
right. It
right?
was like
Where's
the
the middle?
Z. There was no
Mhm.
middle part at
Right.
all. So
Z.
these strange, and then of course, sure enough, she kept
Mm.
going to things with me, and then she became the person that I
Yeah.
asked. You know, I actually just told her she was working for me. She said, "I'm not looking for a job." I said, "Yeah, I know, but I'm a psychic. I see it. So
Mhm.
you're going to have to
Mhm.
go along with me here." And this best thing that's happened to the school, to me, is this has been amazing. So meeting you, oh my God. Remember? We kept saying Spirit has a plan. And then the TV
Yeah.
show that arose?
Well, and the synchronicity of that was I wasn't even in the meeting when you came to the media company I was working at. You had met with other people.
Yeah.
We never even crossed paths. But when the director, he was actually walking back and I saw him walking, he had this book in his hand. And this book was your book. And he said, I was like, "Oh, what book is that?" He showed me and I was like, "Oh, cool." He's like, "Yeah, we just met with this author." And I was like, "Wow, okay." Like I actually have a deck of hers. And he's like, "Yeah, we're thinking about doing a show with her." It's like, "Wow, that's amazing." I got so excited about it. And then he said, "Yeah, like, do you want this book?" I was like, I would love to read it. Sure." He's like, "Yeah, here, go ahead."
He won't read it.
Yeah,
It's got to
he
be
wouldn't read it.
John.
Yeah,
It
and
was
Bill,
John, right?
actually.
John and Bill.
Yeah.
Bill, yeah.
And then I was, like, literally the resident woo person at the company I
At
used
the
to work with,
company.
right?
Yeah.
I always had, like, a couple decks on the go. People would come over and, like, just kinda share their stuff, like a little therapy. So anyways, so then, I was like, "Wow, this is amazing." And then I approached John and right, and I said, "Hey, like, are you guys really gonna do a show with Colette?" And, he's like, "Yeah." I was like, I would really love to be part of it in some way." And he's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah,
Me
well,
what?
do you wanna do you wanna produce it?" I was like, yeah." So, okay, well, like, let's connect you guys. And it was just right, the
Like,
rest is history. It's kind
right?
of
And then
amazing,
now
right?
you're executive producer of this show. And had you not left that place, because that was the other thing, I was saying to Mark, who are we
Well,
going to
had
get?
COVID not
Who
yes,
are
there
we
was
going to
so
get for this? Ah, and then I found out you had left, and I'm
yeah,
like,
like,
"I know
months
who we're gonna get for
earlier.
that," and then I called you up and I said, "Don't say no to me, just don't say no,"
Yeah, you're like,
and
"I'm
just
gonna tell you something."
I'm just telling you something, I'm telling you this thing,
You
right?
can't
And
say no.
you can't
I
say
was
no.
like, I'm not
Just
saying no," but I was so scared. This is the thing, right? It's like I've been producing since like professionally since 2003, okay?
yeah,
And I've filmed, television, live events, like and every level I was like, "Can I do that? Yes, okay." And then I tried it. So
yeah,
podcasting was like the last frontier of producing. And
right.
I was scared. I was like, can't send me the description, right? I was like, "Can you just send me the description?"
Yeah,
That's,
I'm like,
you know,
"You produced
I
my
wanna do a
TV
good job.
show."
I know, but you know me. I
I
really
know.
wanna do a good job, and I wasn't gonna take it on unless I was like, "Yes, I can commit to this," right?
Yeah,
So then I did, and,
and
yes, the
look
rest
where
is
we
history
are.
as well. But it's amazing because again, like, the different things coming through the path. And I want to ask you, do you feel like there's a difference between serendipity and synchronicity?
Yeah, because serendipity is always positive. The
Mm,
serendipitous event brings
right.
you something that's abundant and beautiful and healing and wondrous, etc.
Okay.
Whereas
Mhm.
synchronicity can also bring you into alignment with something that you really needed to work through,
Right.
and
AKA maybe not so happy or
AKA not happy
cheerful.
at all, you know what I mean? And the
Yeah.
synchronicity is that this person's coming into your life for you
Mhm.
to basically be kicked behind the knees in order for you to do something about the thing you've been avoiding. So synchronicity is more neutral, serendipity is more positive.
Okay,
But
I love
synchronicity
that, yeah.
always, the meaningful coincidence to me represents something. And synchronicity tells us that there is a spirit in the plan, that
Yeah.
you are a co-creator. It's a
Mhm.
reminder that you're not there to doing all the work. It's not all your plan, the one that you intellectually come up with in your head or even imagine. You have this energetic intention and you
Mhm.
step into the world, and then all of a sudden, you're invited
Right,
to something that you weren't going to go to, but you went,
right.
and then the most important person you've ever met is sitting in front of you, or
Mhm.
you're offered a job in the perfect
Yeah.
job that you've ever wanted, but you almost didn't go right to this thing
Yep,
because, but
yep.
there it was, synchronicity. That person also wasn't going to go. So, if you look at synchronicity too as as a glimpse into the matrix of connections, we don't see the connection. We don't see the causality, but there is causality. There really is. There's a link somehow between your intention, whether it be conscious or unconscious, your destiny, the blueprint that you're here to express, and the meeting and events that occur that match that you didn't do anything on your own accord to make that happen. You just showed up. You know what I mean? And
Like
so
on your conscious accord, like you
correct. You
consciously, yeah.
didn't take step A, B, and C. You
Yeah,
didn't do this. If I do this, I'm going to get that. That's not what
yeah,
happened. I intend this.
right.
I'm turning it over, or I've forgotten all about it, and then all of a sudden, oh wow, all the thing that I had wanted, like place. Our
Mhm.
place. Mark and I had meditated, and we both came up with pictures and images of a place that we would be our forever home. I didn't imagine what he saw. He didn't really imagine what I saw, but we just decided to tell each other what we saw.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we have the exact place that all the details that both of us saw together in the one bubble. That
Wow.
our farm is exactly
Wow.
what both of us saw. What he
That's
saw is
incredible,
there and
right?
I didn't
Yeah.
see, and what I saw was there that he didn't see, but what we both saw was all
Is
there.
there. It is all there.
It was
Wow.
freaky. I'm like, "Did you see that?" Yeah, and then all the dragonflies everywhere was trippy. So it's like these moments of recognition. That's the other thing.
Mhm.
Synchronicity requires us to recognize it, right? It's
Mhm.
that moment where it's not a meaningful coincidence if you don't recognize it, if you don't see it, right? You have to identify it. Oh, that is a meaningful coincidence to me. Like, that's interesting. And it really makes certainly it's a sense that there is order in the world. There's that sense of divine order.
Oh my
You and I
gosh.
used to say all the
Yes,
time,
yes.
"Spirit has a plan. Spirit has a plan," because it took us 3
Mhm.
years to get that TV show off the ground,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
They kept saying, "Yeah, no, not this year. Yeah, no, not this year." But then we like, let's turn it over. Like, if it was meant to be, and if we're here, we have this friendship that developed. It was synchronous, and then we had all these things in common, and then
Mhm.
yeah, turned it over, and we forgot all about it, and then the phone rang.
Yeah.
Oh, by
Right.
the way, they want to do the show now, right?
Right.
Right? It's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
really? We moved to the
Mhm.
States."
Mhm.
Well, we were living in the States
Right.
at the
So
time,
now we're
yeah.
gonna come
Yeah.
back.
Well, we
Right.
have to come back.
Exactly. And
But
you've given examples of, like, these big shifts,
yeah.
and but you're also sharing that these are, like, people have said cosmic breadcrumbs that it can be small little shifts and leading you to the bigger ones, like hearing a
Yeah.
song on the radio that's telling you that message, or bypassing people on the street, and their conversation is literally exactly an
Well,
answer to
there's a
right?
name for that,
Mm.
which is called a cledon, right? That is an
Right.
innocent oracle where you overhear something, because that actually
Right.
came from Greek civilization.
Mhm.
Part of their average everyday expectations was that the god Apollo would speak to them
Yes.
through an
Mhm.
innocent party, that they would overhear something in the market square, so that people would actually pray to the god Apollo for an answer, and they would go directly into the market square and wonder if they overheard something, if it would come up above the din. And
That
for
d
us, it's a
yes.
billboard,
Mhm.
it's a bumper sticker, it's the things that we see in everyday life.
11:11 on the clock, right? Like, it's like all of these things.
Right, 11:11. My husband always saw 11:11, and I saw, and that's my favorite thing. I'm like, oh, you see, everybody sees 11:11, but I always think it's the coolest thing ever when somebody tells me
Mhm.
that they've seen it.
Yeah.
But Mark and I, and he's a 29:11, I'm a 38:11. We're 11:11. We see
Mm.
11:11 all the time.
Yeah.
But those little God shots, of those
Mm.
moments that you
Mhm.
recognize, either, hearing a song on the radio. That one of my favorite stories was that one where there was a girl who had saved up and got an RV and really wanted to go on this vacation, and she was a client of mine.
Mm.
And then the day before, there was a song on the radio playing at her sister's house, and the sister was on the phone with her, but she says, "Oh, I hear that music is so loud. What's that song?" She goes, "It's not loud. It's that 'Please Don't Go' by so and so." It was like a '60s song, and she
Oh,
goes,
right.
"Wow, that's so loud." She goes, "It's not loud at all. I can barely hear it. It's in the other room." And then she's like, "Ooh," and she felt that she shouldn't go, but the boyfriend said, "Oh, come on," and she goes, "Yeah, but Colette." She was studying
Mhm.
something with me,
Mhm.
and she goes, "Yeah, I don't know, my intuition." He goes, "Oh, screw the intuition." Like, that's just that
Mhm.
woo-woo stuff. So they get in the car, in the RV, rainstorm, whatever. Jesus Takes the Wheel is on the radio. He hates Carrie Underwood, the boyfriend. So he goes,
Yeah.
"Oh," and he changes the channel and he goes, "Oh, I want to hear, outlaw country or something." And
Right.
he tried to change the channel and he couldn't get any other channel. And then he went to another channel and there she was again with
Oh my
Jesus
goodness,
Take the
take the
Wheel.
wheel.
And immediately a big giant tractor trailer, thing was
Yeah.
coming at them,
Oh my
swerved
gosh.
because it was very, very wet. She
Oh.
took the wheel, grabbed the wheel, and they avoided what would have been
Oh my
a
gosh.
terribly tragic accident. It
Wow.
ended up to be that but she'll tell the story that way, that Jesus Take the
Mm.
Wheel came up.
Mhm.
She goes, "I knew it was that something was going to happen."
Oh
And
my
she said she
gosh,
was on
wow.
alert because she felt
Mm.
it. So she felt the
Right.
coincidence,
Right.
right? So the synchronicity. Carrie Underwood had no idea she was going to prevent an accident, right?
Mm.
She's the innocent
Mhm.
party on the radio. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
it's really interesting when you're aware of synchronicities in your life and you become more aware of it. How
Mm.
they show up, they start to show up in so many more ways when you become conscious of them. And
Right.
and there's times where a rock is just a rock, or a song is a song is a song.
Mm.
But a
Mhm.
meaningful coincidence is something that genuinely speaks to something that you're thinking about, or that you're concerned about, or you need an answer to. And then the world just seems to move together in your favor, and the dance begins, and then all of a sudden, boom, there it is. And you did nothing to make that happen.